How do I deal with the fear of disappointing others? If you're a people pleaser, someone who would rather not disappoint people if you can avoid it, you might struggle with this question frequently. It's important to recognize that it's often coming from a good place, and sometimes being empathic depends on your ability to anticipate other people's feelings and act accordingly. The problem, though, is that when you're so afraid to disappoint someone that you sacrifice your own vision, values, or needs, you might not realize that's what you're doing. But over time, you might notice signs like feeling unfulfilled, feeling disconnected from yourself or others, feeling bored, and at the same time not quite knowing why. The reason is when we overvalue other people's approval, we automatically undervalue ourselves, and this can really sneak up on you. I'll share an example from my own life. I started graduate school with a very specific career goal in mind. It was aligned with the values of my professors, my program, and my peers, and it was to be a top-tier researcher at a prominent university. A couple years into my PhD program, though, I realized that I actually wanted to do clinical work, and I wasn't that interested in a research-based career. I wanted to do therapy, do consultation. But I kept my insights to myself because I worried that if I voiced it to anyone, they would be disappointed that they had invested in my education, only to have me go do something different from what I said I wanted to do. I spent years privately despairing about how I was going to survive a career that I didn't really want, and I found myself not before long feeling depressed, and worse, feeling like I was a failure. My fear of disappointing my professors had grown so huge that I completely lost sight of my unique talents and what would actually fulfill me in my career. I didn't even consider that there were probably other people in my field who would join alongside me and support me in my true interests. I was so dependent on the approval of the people right in front of me that I couldn't even think beyond that. I finally decided to disclose my conflict to my dissertation advisor. He looked at me and he said, "You're going to have to wake up to yourself every morning. So make sure that whatever you do, you can live with it." He even told me that he had already started to see me more as a teacher than a researcher, even when I hadn't seen it myself. And honestly, I was afraid to see it myself. That moment changed my trajectory, and it helped me eventually build a career as a clinician and a teacher. I spent years feeling terrible about myself and trying to be someone that I wasn't, all because I was afraid that people would devalue me. Even after I pivoted and pursued a career that was more aligned with my interests, it still took me a while to work through my own internalized failure because it had built up over a long time. I was lucky to have an advisor who was so real and supportive, and I know for a fact that some of my professors would not have reacted that way. But the reaction of the other person isn't really the point. The point here is that when we ignore who we are and what we really care about because we're afraid of disappointing others, we end up sabotaging ourselves and feeling miserable about it, and not being of any use to whoever it is we're trying to serve or reach in our careers. I have made plenty of decisions that have disappointed people and in some cases pissed people off, people I really value and care about. What I've learned is that if I build my life on gaining other people's approval, I would be a shadow of myself. And that doesn't just affect me. It affects my family, it affects my relationships, and it prevents me from even seeing opportunities that would better align with my values. I've also learned that people's disappointment often doesn't last forever. And if it does, well, how much should I value the opinion of someone who isn't able to appreciate differences in the first place? So, if you're struggling with the fear of disappointing someone, I hear you. Take some time to figure out if this fear is preventing you from taking action, though, that is aligned with your true values. And if so, know that the disappointment of others isn't going to destroy you. It's hard to tolerate, but it is worth the struggle to carve out a life for yourself that is fulfilling, even if it's not always easy to get there. For more tools on breaking free from people-pleasing and perfectionism, sign up for my weekly Notes from Dr. Natasha, where I share evidence-based tools from psychology combined with my own experiences as a professional and a person. You can sign up in the description below.